Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the ROI on the time you spend or waste shopping for products and services for your real estate business. Coming up right now on the first episode of 2025, the TCO Method Season 2 starts now. Welcome to the TCO Method, the only show focused on helping you massively increase your net operating income. I am Andy McQuade. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode, the first episode of Season 2, recorded in 2025. And today, we're going to talk a little bit about the ROI, return on investment, of your time as it relates to shopping for products, services, and other stuff that you need for your real estate business, whether you have 2 doors or 20,000 doors. Disclaimer, just because I talk about it doesn't mean you should do it. I have to do this now. Thank you, insurance people. 2025 sucks for insurance. Had to raise my GL policy to cover this stupid show. It's not a stupid show. I love my show. I had to raise my GL policy to $4 million. Why? Because they said so. And thus, here we are. My disclaimer is, this is not financial, legal, business, investing, otherwise, blah, 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 tax, nothing. No advice. This is my opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. If you want to take some education from it, great. Research everything that I say independently on your own with your team of professional advisors. If you don't have a team of professional advisors, you best get some. Anyway, moving on. So, a couple days ago, I had an old customer of mine from when I was at the Big Orange Box reach out to me and ask me exactly what I did for businesses in real estate that are looking to do value-add rehabs on apartment complexes. So I told him, gave him a couple of local examples he could go look at here in Rochester. And he said at the end of it, he was kind of like, well, so if I've already got relationships with insert box stores here, both of them, then I should be good for purchasing and stuff, and I wouldn't need anybody to help me figure that out, right? Except for no. So the first thing is, if you own a real estate business as an owner-operator, as a DIY investor, as a large multi-state corporation managing properties, I'm pretty sure that you have better things to do with your time than argue with a sales guy about a 65-cent difference in a PEX fitting, okay? And I say this with love from my heart because I used to deal with this on a regular basis, and now I deal with it even more directly, but I do it on behalf of other people who don't have the time to do it themselves. And it's not that they don't have the hours in the day. It's that they're spending their time doing things that actually move the needle in their business. Arguing with a sales guy about 20 cents a square foot or 50 cents for a fitting or $2 for a square of shingles is probably the lowest value you can deliver to your business per hour of your time. And I understand it needs to be done occasionally, but just like when we look at hiring a VA, right, a virtual assistant, just like when we look at hiring an executive assistant, just like when we look at hiring employees, number one, we bring people in who are better than us at doing something because they do it every day. So hopefully they have skill sets and practice and street smarts and current, up-to-date, informed knowledge of whatever it is that you're having them do for you. But also, hopefully, you're going to pay them less than you pay yourself. If I'm an owner of a business, and let's just say I want to pay myself $100 an hour, so I make $200,000 a year that I can take home and say, look at me, I did good, honey, let's go on vacation, okay? Why would I not hire somebody to have that conversation with a salesperson? To have that purchasing contract looked at? To have that service contract looked at? Now, I understand that in some cases you're talking about thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars that go through your business in this one section every year. And it's important because about 30% of the cost to do a project, whether it's a value-add rehab or maintenance or whatever, about 30% of it on average comes from the material side, right? And the rest is labor. But if you're paying yourself $100 an hour and you spend an hour to save yourself $5 shopping between 2 or 3 different places on an order, did you actually save $5 or did you just light $95 on fire? And here's what I'm getting at. If you're the owner of a business and you're paying yourself $100 an hour, don't you think your time would be better spent focusing on the things that you're good at, that you know how to do, you understand all of the dynamics of, and it will move the needle in your business? You can't save your way to wealth. And if you're paying yourself $100 an hour, you better be spending that $100 on things that make your business grow, right? When you're saving, yes, it impacts NOI. Yes, it impacts the bottom line to the business. Yes, it looks good on paper. Yes, it probably makes you feel great. It really does. But here's the reality, people. You could have spent that hour on the phone looking for deals to buy your next property. You could have spent that hour learning something that will help you grow your business. You could have spent that hour meeting people who will help you run your business. Your ROI in everything you do in business is what matters. Spending time on stupid crap that doesn't move the needle for you is why so many small business owners spin their wheels and never get where they want to go. Well, somebody's got to do it, and I don't trust anybody else to do it right. Or, I've been doing this for years. If you ever say to yourself, or you hear in your head, I've been doing it for years, you have to understand that your perspective is very narrow. You've been doing it for years in your business with your experience level. Compare that to a consultant, a lawyer, a CPA, whatever specialized job interacts with your business. You see your narrow field of view of your business over here and how you've been doing things and that you're pretty good at certain stuff, but you don't have a point of reference. I know plenty of people who thought that or think that they're very good at what they do for this particular part of their business. The problem is they don't usually leverage that part of their skill set exclusively and frequently enough to actually be good at it, right? You get good through reps. You get good through practice. That's why I make fun of gurus who have done something for like 2 or 3 years and done it like 5 times, and now they're selling books and courses. Like, guy, no one cares about your opinion. You're 26 years old, and now you're some sort of mastermind guru who's going to teach a 40-year-old who's been doing the industry or working in the industry for 15 years. You're going to tell them how to do something that they mastered 10 years ago, and somehow you're better than them at 26. I'm not saying it's completely impossible, but it is highly improbable. Okay, like a 25-year-old life coach, bro, you were in high school 6 years ago. You don't have a life, okay, right? You do something for 5 years, and maybe you're okay at it. You don't even, when you're a kid, you don't even know how to wipe your ass correctly when you're 5, okay? If you think that, and little kids learn a hell of a lot faster than adults do. Just throwing that out there. If you think that you're qualified to do that at 26 years old, 30 years old, you're going to guru people, you've done something like twice, no one cares. No one believes in fake it till you make it. Guess what? Fake it till you make it in business. If you're selling services, it's called fraud, bro. Like, it's bad. It's a bad look. Stop. Just stop. Don't talk. Shut up. You might be very good at what you do in your mind. It does not make you good at what you do in the real world. Well, the only thing that matters is that I'm 1% better than I was yesterday. Well, cool. But that doesn't actually mean it's going to save you any money. Okay? Like there's value in knowing how things work and knowing how to do things yourself. And then there's more value in going to somebody who does it 10 or 15 times a week for 10 or 15 different companies. And they see not only a wider variety of issues and problems and experiences, but the reps they're putting in pile up a lot faster than the reps you're putting in. Plus, because of privacy laws and all of the other stuff, they're going to see things that you don't see, because I don't see your competitors opening their P&Ls to you. I don't see them opening up their books and showing you what they buy and what they pay for every single item, or what kind of price they negotiated with Joe Bob over here, who's going to do service X, Y, or Z for them for the next year, versus what you're paying Joe Bob. And guess what? Companies adjust how they price things and the service level they deliver, because both of those cost them money. They have a P&L to worry about too. They price things based on what value you are going to deliver to them. They're not going to give things away to you if they lose money at the end of the day after they turn the lights on, open the doors, pay their people, pay all of the bills, and then take a look at their math and go, why am I giving this stuff away to this guy that doesn't spend anything and is a huge pain in my ass? We're going to charge him more and just make him think he's doing a great job. That happens a lot, by the way. In sales, I was an outside sales guy for a long time. I did national account sales for a long time. If you were a low volume, high pain in the ass customer, I made a lot more margin on you. That's reality. Got to pay the bills somehow. My time is worth something. So is yours. But your perspective may not be 100% accurate, because you have nothing to weigh it against. You don't have a comparison. Well, I don't want to compare myself to other people. All I care about is being 1% better. Shut up. No one cares about your self-help book you just read, okay? Just shut up. It doesn't affect reality. I know people who think they're getting a great deal on something who are literally paying 15 or 20% more than they should be. And that doesn't even get into people who are paying a low cost for something to get something from a supplier who sucks at delivery, sucks at supply chain, sucks at availability, terrible terms, outrageous credit costs, hard to deal with because you can't get a hold of people. We're going back to the ROI of your time. Okay, great. You saved $10 buying widget A from this store versus buying it from the other store. But then you spent 3 hours chasing the first store to get what you paid for, and now you're $300 in the hole. Oh, I'm sorry. You're $290 in the hole because you pay yourself $100 an hour. And that doesn't include the labor it takes to meet a delivery truck, get the stuff where it needs to go, deal with the bills and invoices later if it's in some sort of chaotic credit card system that doesn't make any sense, right? There's all these pieces and parts that go into what you really pay for product. A part of total cost of ownership is acquisition cost and disposition cost, the beginning and the end. If you buy something and you save $10 on the product, but then you spend $290 more of your own time trying to figure out that $10 and make it work in your business, you lost. Having to explain to people that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something is a big part of being a consultant. But common sense seems to check out when it comes to people thinking that they're good at something because they've done it and they've had success to a point where it worked out for them. But with no perspective on just how good that could have been, that whole experience and how much it impacts your bottom line, they continue doing bad things, dumb things, things that lack common sense. It's not okay for senior leadership in a business to spend their time stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. Okay? It's just not. And I'm not trying to sound yes, I am. I'm trying to sound condescending. Okay? There it is. I'm trying to highlight through New York sarcasm that you're lighting money on fire for no good reason other than because you've done it that way and your ego won't allow you to entertain the possibility that you have no idea what you're actually doing. The same can be said for people who put all their eggs in the basket of a purchasing system that just orders product and miracles it to your door with no oversight, right? There is a limit of oversight that needs to be imposed on your purchasing. I'm not saying that there isn't. It's a totally different topic for a different episode, and I've already talked about it in season 1. Pay for the results you get and measure the ROI. If you're going to do it, hand it off to somebody that makes less than you, whose job is to make it happen. Now, I was on Yona Weiss's podcast last month in January of 2025, and we talked about this. We talked about hiring a person to run your purchasing and procurement in your shop and how much money you can save versus those automated systems where they just buy the stuff and it shows up because you're paying the middleman in that point. Why wouldn't you want to hire the middleman and control the entire process and get transparency on what's really going on? Especially if you have any kind of volume. It's really more of a message for very large organizations that have thousands of doors under management and are spending millions of dollars on product. It's still important for the small guy with 1 or 2 houses that they manage part-time while they're working a W-2. But it's all about ROI. What is your time worth and what are you paying yourself to do this versus the benefit? Like when I was a sales guy, I used to laugh at the guy who was building a deck or building an addition or doing a roof or doing siding, windows, whatever, who would go to 7 different vendors and brag about how he got the lowest price he possibly could. It was $50 less. And it only took 17 hours, 14 trips, 33 phone calls, 22 emails, and 600 headaches to save that $50. Don't you think you could have sold another job in the same amount of time that you just spent fighting for $50? You're working for 12 cents an hour, man. Little common sense goes a long way, but people get so caught up in the thing, and then they feel good, right? It's the endorphin rush when you complete something. Boom. I did it. I saved $50. But you don't see how painful it was getting to that $50 because you don't have perspective, because you're not focusing on the right things. I don't really have anything else to talk about except for this. Best Ever Conference is coming up next week. I will be flying into Salt Lake City on the 1st. My part of the conference starts on the 2nd, and I will be there until Thursday. I fly out Thursday morning from Salt Lake. If you're going to Best Ever, reach out to me. Let me know. You can email me if it involves the show. It's podcast@dcomethod.com. I will be recording an episode with Alexi Chernobelsky on site, live on the Best Ever Conference stage. While I'm there on Monday, I will be recording with Alexi. So he'll be returning to the show, talk about a couple of really cool things that he's got going on right now. His new app, GPLP Match, sort of like an app and a website and an algorithm all blended into one. And he's still working on it. It's a work in progress, but he's got about 1,000 people on that website right now. And it's kicking some serious butt. And no, he did not pay me for this. I'm just saying that we're going to talk about it on the show. And then I'm going to record another episode while I'm there. I don't know who it's going to be with yet, but I'll find somebody really cool to interview. Hopefully a good operator who gets it and has some experience and some skin in the game. And then we'll be back with some episodes that were actually recorded before the end of season 1 that I still haven't published. There's a couple of those hanging in the wings, and I'm going to try to do 2 episodes a week again, and hopefully a interview episode at least once or twice a month coming out on Saturdays is the goal. Yeah, it's been busy, right? I spent some time with Ryan Pineda. I'm going to release an episode with Ryan here shortly. And I spent some time over in the school community with Alex Hormozy, who I'm more and more a fan of all the time. He takes a lot of shit, but some of it's deserved and some of it's not, right? Just like everybody. You don't have to agree with everything they say, just to appreciate the good things that they come up with. I started rewriting my book again, actually, after listening to Alex, because the book, while full of really good information and facts, was not an easy read. So we're working on making it a little bit more digestible. But again, you can get all the content right here on the show, or you can just hire me and I'll come do it for you. Either one works, right? I think that's all I got. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. Leave me a comment on the episode. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe to the show. Leave me a review. Leave a comment if you can. I do respond to all of them, and I collect emails from people from prior episodes who write in with questions, and I will handle questions, actually probably on my next episode on Thursday. I will do a holy crap, I didn't record squat for episodes for the last 12 months, and now I'm going to go through all of the questions and comments I got from last season, and I'm going to address as many of them as I can get to in 40 minutes on the show on Thursday. Just tune in for that. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your week, and go do some real estate.